Let's keep the conversation going now with Adam Epstein. He is the co-CEO of adMarketplace. It's a search advertising company providing media solutions for advertisers and publishers. And he has been advising the DOJ's antitrust team on their case against Google. Adam, it's great to have you in studio with us. So we heard from Alphabet on Friday. Of course, they called the Chrome sale, that possibility, as an extreme remedy that's at odds with the actual law. And they also said in that court filing on Friday, their own remedy, which would be allowing competing browsers to make deals with search engines and device makers to basically preload multiple search engines. I would just love to hear your reaction to that to start out. Does that go far enough in your view?
Yeah, I mean, it's an opening offer, and it's basically saying, look, we're going to stop forcing our competing browsers and device makers to have default exclusive deals for their search engine result page. It's not going to, on its own, create competition or unlock innovation that I think the court is looking for in the two search markets that it found Google to be a monopoly in.
So it doesn't necessarily address the root cause then? It doesn't create more innovation?
Correct. It's a step, which is Google saying, look, we understand that our agreements with our partners are, onerous and are, anti-competitive. It's, the DOJ and the government have come up with more steps, which would really allow for the licensing to have a search experience for users where Google results would show up next to a ChatGPT, next to a OpenAI. And that's really, I think, the future of search is going to be, the next generation experience is going to be Google commingled with other search results, especially from Gen AI, not something that's just completely controlled by Google.
Well, that was what I was wondering about. Say that you don't see a split up. Say that, nothing really comes of all this. Then you look 5-10 years into the future. What does search look like? You already have an experience where you type in a query,
right,
and you are given a whole host of options that you would not have gotten 5 years ago or a year ago, let alone. So what does that look like, and who is feeding you the information at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's the question, and it's a great question. I think that the idea that we're all going to go to the same legacy search engine result page, it's kind of one size fits all for all of us, that's going to seem quaint in about 24 to 36 months. The idea that even today we're all going to maybe a Gen AI search provider and then checking on Google to do a compare and contrast, there's no reason that an Apple or a DuckDuckGo couldn't provide that kind of integrated experience on their own site, except for the fact that they're prohibited by Google currently under these licensing agreements. So that's really where, these are behavioral remedies. They're not quite as sexy as the divestiture, but from a consumer perspective and from, the $50 billion in monopoly tax that Google is extracting from advertisers, having competition, having innovation on these search result pages that are curated by the actual providers instead of by the Google itself, I think that's the future.
Is there a scenario here, and this is, the capitalist way to go about it, that the market fixes itself given all the competition that is coming up with generative AI?
Right, exactly. So Google's licensing agreements right now do not allow the market to fix itself. They have these default exclusive agreements where they're force funneling every user to their own search result page. And I think the judge is absolutely looking at ways for the market to fix itself so that advertisers can have transparency, users can have choice, and really that the browsers themselves and the device makers themselves can have a lot more control over curating that experience and having different providers competing for who has the best result.
Let's go down the path of the hypothetical, and let's say that actually Chrome was sold.
Right.
Who would be a potential buyer there? What could that potentially even look like?
Yeah, that's really what's difficult about this is, it's a great headline. It makes a lot of sense. I think especially if Google is not going to comply with the behavioral remedies we were just speaking about, that having a different manager or a different ownership for Chrome would be a great way to make sure that they're incented to comply with those. But, once you're in a world where, Chrome is being sold, controlling the sale and what that owner is going to do, I think creates a lot of unknowns on its own. So I'm not sure it's, again, these are all both initial offers. So Google coming out kind of with a very small change, DOJ coming out with a huge change. It might be that we meet in the middle, not too hot, not too cold.
The trial is right around the corner. We only have less than a minute here, but what comes next? And what is your advice here when it comes to the Justice Department's next moves?
Yeah, so, what comes next is we're going to have in March, another shot to see what the proposed orders are. There's going to be a trial in April where we're going to talk all through all these issues. And, I think that the DOJ and the government have really been very thoughtful. They've been talking to industry. They want to know what the right solution is. Again, there's this huge monopoly tax being extracted, and if they can fix this industry and allow the markets to self-correct, as you say, that'd be a huge win for everybody.
Adam, we thank you for joining us here on set. Happy holidays to you. That is Adam Epstein. He is adMarketplace co-CEO, and he has been working with the Department of Justice to advise on this big case ahead. A lot going on in the world of tech.